I know how special of a player I can be whenever I go out there and I play freely. So try to incorporate that into my practice and just have a really good week spinning the ball around and gain that confidence as practice went on. And ultimately it kind of translated over. So kind of, you practice how you play. People say that all the time.
Thanks for listening to KC Sports Network, proudly presented by Emprise Bank. If you're thinking about starting a business or know someone who is, check out Emprise Bank's SBA loans. It's always good to know your options, and they can be your partner in possible.
Hello and welcome into another edition of Three Ma. I am John Kurtz, joined by Manbeck and Derek Young, and a very special guest today as it is our player interview for the week. QB1 of the Cats, reigning Big 12 Offensive Player of the Week, Avery Johnson. And Avery, we really appreciate you taking some time to join us. And of course, we also really appreciate the fact that Riverbank Brewing in Council Grove is who brings this to you every single week, our player spotlight. Riverbank Brewing in Council Grove is partnered with Wildcat NIL to support K-State athletes and help us bring this show every week to you. Riverbank Brewing is located just off Main Street at the Neosho River in Council Grove. They brew craft beers in-house, just released their new fall cocktail menu. You can get Lewisburg apple cider there as well. They'll be serving beer at Junction City Oktoberfest this weekend and serving drinks at the Wildcat NIL tailgate at one of the home games before the end of the season. If you're in Manhattan, just a short drive, 35 minutes away, awesome place, huge, large, outdoor covered patio overlooking the Neosho River. Tremendous place to watch college football, TVs inside and out, live music, trivia, and much more. They also have beer to go, so you can even swing by and pick some up to have at your tailgate or when watching the Cats on TV. They're open Wednesday and Thursday from 4 to 10 p.m., Fridays and Saturdays, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Go to riverbankbrewing.com for more info. We appreciate Riverbank Brewing, a great locally owned company who support K-State athletes, and love the Cats. Avery, we appreciate you taking some time to join us here, hopefully getting a little bit of downtime this week with the bye week. How has that been? How have you been handling things with the off week so far?
Pretty good. Still got to, get some work in so that we don't lose any of the progress and steam we kind of got rolling right now. But obviously got to take the week to get our bodies back, get our legs back under us so that we can go out and perform when we head to Boulder.
Yeah, you mentioned the body. Is the body feeling very beat up through 5 games this year?
Actually, it feels pretty good. Done a really good job of this year of taking care of my body throughout the week. And the coaches do a really good job of not putting too much on us to where we're overdoing it in practice. But definitely feeling pretty good going into the bye week.
Hey, Avery, before we get into Saturday, I want to start off and mention your fundraising efforts with Dr. Botts, the principal at Mays High School battling cancer. What can you tell us about your relationship with Dr. Botts, and how blown away have you been by the response and support to the campaign?
Yeah, it's amazing. And I first was introduced to Dr. Botts my freshman year of high school, and we've been close ever since. And obviously, everybody knows how big of a Kansas State fan he is, so being able to give back to him by scoring touchdowns is a great way to be able to do it because he's a big Cats fan and he definitely deserves every bit of it. So just to see how high the number is right now at near 65,000, whenever our initial goal was only 20,000, it definitely goes to show there's still a lot of great people in this world that want to donate to a good cause. And like I said just a second ago, he's definitely worth every penny.
Remind us again, how can folks donate?
You just go to champsraise.com or you can go to the link in my bio and go on there. You can pledge a donation for every touchdown. So if you do $10 and we score 10 touchdowns in October, then your donation will turn into $100. If not, you can do a one-time donation, whatever you feel fit, but anything helps.
Speaking of touchdowns, you had 5 of them last week against Oklahoma State. What kind of made the passing game click much more in that one?
I think just really it starts with the offensive line. They did a great job protecting and giving me time in that pocket to, survey the defense and put the ball in places where, only my guys could get it. And then we had some really good routes and competitive catches made, and then really just goes all the way back to Coach Riles being really aggressive in his play calls and really wanting to push the ball down the field. And I think he made an emphasis at that last week.
Obviously, you're kind of the guy this year, the starting quarterback when you weren't last year. Has it felt like when you get out there and go against these, defenses, whether it be Arizona, Tulane, Oklahoma State, that more so this year you're the center of their game plan?
I guess you could say that also. I mean, there's a lot of great pieces around me. We run the ball at a very high level, one of the best running teams in the country. So definitely DJ and Dylan and me being able to run the ball definitely opens up the pass game a little bit. But a lot of guys around me that kind of take the eyes off of me to allow me to just go out there and, do my 111.
You guys definitely still face some adversity on Saturday against Oklahoma State. It was 13-7 at one point after an interception, but that was clearly the difference between that game and the BYU game. You were able to turn it around and took all the momentum from there. You mentioned, hey, I didn't handle adversity as well as I could have at BYU. Was there like one particular moment where you really felt that when you think back to what happened in that game in Provo?
I think it was just the snowball effect of everything that kind of went down before halftime, and then coming out and throwing another interception after halftime definitely didn't help the momentum or anything. But credit to them, they played a really complete game, and their fans were really loud. Their stadium was packed, so it's hard for us to get that momentum flipped. But definitely just wanted to learn from it so that we didn't have something like that happen again. And obviously, like you said, I think we played our best football after that interception happened.
When you have a game with 5 touchdowns, obviously you've got some highlights, and there's a bunch throughout the year so far. For you personally, like what's been your favorite play this year that you've put out there?
That scramble, my last touchdown of the game against Okie State. That scramble touchdown. Usually I don't like. I was like smiling mid play. I was like, whoa, that was kind of nice. It was kind of clean. So usually I don't do that type of stuff on my type of plays, but I was definitely feeling myself after that one.
Yeah, it showed, Avery. Hey, you guys came out throwing the ball on Saturday. I think you attempted 15 passes on your first 23 offensive plays. Did you know going into the game you guys were going to go pass heavy to start the game? And maybe what type of confidence does that instill in you when your coaches show that trust to drop back and throw it around so much early?
Not necessarily. I mean, we had a lot of good calls on the sheet going into the week, but I didn't know that we were going to come out firing like that. So it just shows, like, after a tough week, how much confidence those guys upstairs have in me. And just being able to, like, we started off multiple drives with passes, and we're pushing the ball down the field pretty consistently. So it just goes to show how much those coaches believe in me, and it just ultimately makes me, raise the standard and want to play just a little bit better each week.
And Coach Kleiman also said after the game, you had your best practice throwing the football during your time at K-State just last week. I think he said something along the lines, you completed 32 or 33 of 35 through the air. Do you feel that was your best practice at K-State when it comes to passing, and what started to maybe click?
Yeah, I think it was just kind of the message that was being pushed to me, after that game is don't put too much weight on your shoulders. Just go out there and do your part. And I know how special of a player I can be whenever I go out there and I play freely. So try to incorporate that into my practice and just have a really good week spinning the ball around and gain that confidence as practice went on. And ultimately it kind of translated over. So kind of, you practice how you play. People say that all the time.
I believe you were asked at one point during training camp which guy probably isn't appreciated enough, and your answer was DJ Giddens, which looks pretty prophetic right now. He's top 5 rushing in the country. What can you tell us just about his work habits and what kind of motivated you to say that he was about to do what he's doing right now?
Really just how he goes about his business and how he goes about his work. He's in the facility all the time, and just kind of goes about how he works one of the hardest, if not the hardest, on the team. Takes care of his body and goes out there week in and week out and performs at a high level. And I know he's beat up. I know his body's going through a whole bunch of minor aches and pains, and that's just kind of what you get from the running back position. But guy never complains, and always has a positive mindset whenever he steps into the facility. So I definitely think that he needed a little bit more credit and doesn't really get talked about as far as, best running back in the nation conversations. But I definitely think he's proven his case, and he'll continue to do that as the season goes on, because that's just the type of player he is.
Obviously, it's there were times where you guys had struggles at Tulane and then again at BYU. What do you think it'll take to kind of clear those hurdles on the road and play a cleaner game?
Really just we just got to start out a little bit faster and not shoot ourselves in the foot so much. At BYU we had a ton of penalties that prevented us from scoring a couple times on those first few drives, and you can't have those type of mental errors whenever you're playing on the road, especially at tough places. And we just have to be better and all on the same page whenever we go play away games, because once the opposing team stadium gets that momentum, it's hard to strip it from them. So you can strip it from them, but we ultimately don't want to have to let it get to that point each time we play an away game.
Yeah, I mean, Colorado looks like it's going to be another one of those type of atmospheres of the way that they're playing right now. I guess, first of all, how do you guys feel about these late night games, man? I mean, I'm in my mid-30s. I'm getting too old for this. Games that are kicking off at like 9 o'clock here. How is it for you as a player?
I hate them. I would rather play. My favorite game time is 11. Wake up, eat a pregame meal, go up there and play. Like, get over with the game, watch some football, chill. You get more time for your body to recover. Get to sleep in. Whenever you play the late night away games, get home at 4 or 5 in the morning. Your Sunday, your next week's kind of pushed back a little bit, but ultimately, there's nothing we can do about it. There's no way we can affect it. I mean, we're blessed to get to play another game. We get to go play in a great environment like Colorado against a great Colorado team. So I think we just got to have a little bit more of an optimistic look at things and go out there and attack the challenge and want to be able to go out there and get another win.
You like a go-to something that you do, like an activity to get your mind right while you're trying to kill time there? Like, how do you kill that much time?
Really just kind of got to chill. Like, we get a lot of time off. You do some recovery, go back up to the room, watch some football, maybe take a nap. But ultimately, I think every guy's a little bit different. I kind of just, listen to music and just kind of got to wait it out. It's just, you're really antsy and excited to play, but you just got to be patient until the time comes.
Avery, I wanted to ask you about Dylan in the passing game specifically, because as I rewatched the Oklahoma State game, it felt like there were multiple times where Dylan drew multiple defenders and helped maybe open up somebody else. How have you seen him and just his presence on the field open up the passing game?
It helps us out a bunch because, like you said, a lot of guys, there's multiple guys that get their eyes on him, and I definitely think when Dylan takes steps on the field, a lot of the defensive coaches and defenders, their eyes kind of light up because you have to account for him, and you have to be able to account for his explosiveness and his speed and all of that in between. So definitely takes a lot of eyes away from other players and opens up some stuff from other guys. And then if they don't want to give him his respect or show attention to him, then he's going to get behind the defense and ultimately we'll try to expose them and their weaknesses. But I think he has been doing a great job, and we're putting him in a lot of places. He's had to learn a lot of different positions, and he's running a whole bunch of different routes. It's a lot of new stuff to him, and he's handling it really well. So I think he'll definitely continue to grow as the season goes on.
You mentioned the offensive line earlier, and obviously that was an offseason topic, replacing KT Leviston, Cooper Beebe, and so many of those guys up front, and now they're paving the way for one of the best rushing attacks in college football. Just how have you seen them continue to grow and gel as a unit?
I think it just starts with the leadership, and Hadley's done a really good job with those guys of, taking accountability whenever maybe it's not even his mess up. He'll take accountability for the whole offensive line, and I think those guys really buy into what he says and really trust and love and believe in him, and he leads those troops, man. So he just makes whenever I go out there, it's just hey, let's go do it. I love y'all boys, but let's go out there and let's go have some fun because we put in the work, we prepared the way we know we prepared. So it's ultimately just going out and performing after that. They've done a great job. They definitely stepped up to the plate and knocked it out of the park. So I'm really happy to be able to play behind those guys.
5 weeks into the season, you've already thrown a touchdown pass to 4 different tight ends. Was that the expectation going into the season, or is this just kind of a rapport you developed with them in the red zone?
Nah, we just been doing some really good stuff. Coaches have dialed up some really good stuff in the red zone to to get those guys open, and those guys are making plays whenever the ball's thrown their way. So I definitely wouldn't have predicted that. Definitely wouldn't have seen anything like that coming, but we've had a lot of minor injuries, some guys banged up here and there, and young guys have had to step up and make some plays. So credit to those guys, how they prepared in the offseason and how they can continue to prepare each week.
Fellow Wichita guy in your recruiting class, I think, as well, Willie Ancio, with his first extended action this past week. How do you think he did in his first real moments of playing time?
I think he did a really good job, and like I said, he just got called up and was ready for every opportunity he got. And like the catch he had for a touchdown, it wasn't an easy catch by any means, but coach just said, put it up. Dude's 6'5", played basketball, got a basketball history, can jump high, and he just went up there and high pointed it and made an amazing play on the football. Did a really good job in the run game as well, which a lot of people may just not see because a lot of people just kind of look past the blocking, and who's doing the running is where a lot of people look. But he did a really good job, and I definitely think he'll continue to improve as the season goes on, and somebody that we can continue to lean on as we go through the thick of things.
The in-helmet communication thing is such a new part of college football this year. So I don't want you to give anything away, right? But what's an example of something that Matt Wells may be telling you in between a play that you're hearing through the helmet?
Yeah, down and distance, maybe. If we're in 4-down territory, he'll whisper that or say that in my ear, just so I know that, hey, we got 2 plays here instead of 1. Different type of things like that. At the end of the game, telling me, I can milk the clock, let the clock get to this point before we need to snap it, and then sometimes just pre-snap little reminders on plays that we might not have repped a lot in the off season, that it might just be a weekly thing that he wants to give me a little reminder on. So not overly communicating. It's not too much communication to where I can't think, but he definitely is really timely with it. And we found that, good relationship with it to where it can benefit me and help me.
That's awesome. Well, hey, you found Jace Brown for a touchdown, first touchdown for a receiver this past week. And I know you guys are really tight and roommates. What's something that we don't know about Jace Brown that as his roommate that you can tell us?
I don't know. I'm trying to think. I don't know, man. He's a different cat. Love him to death. That's my guy. But I can't think of anything that. I don't know any really fun facts about Chase other than what the media already knows.
What's the mood around the apartment with Jace Brown? Does he keep it pretty lively? What's it like living with him on a day-to-day basis?
We don't even. Whenever I tell you we get home from the facility, me, Jace, Chidi, and Cam, if my parents make food, sometimes they bring food over earlier in the week. We'll go out and eat and we'll talk and laugh or whatever. But we go to our rooms and it's closed doors. Jace will play the game. Chidi will play the game. But me and Cam, we just kind of go back to our rooms and chill. But the only thing I can tell you is I can hear Chidi yelling from downstairs in my vent, and I can hear Jace yelling from across the hallway whenever they're playing Call of Duty or NCAA. So those guys and Jace's speakers are so loud whenever he's listening to music. So those two are the loud bunch. Me and Cam are the quiet two.
You not playing NCAA, Avery? You rock with the game at all?
Yeah, I played before the season started, but I haven't been on the game in so long since the season has started. After the season, I'll get back on.
Yeah, that's a focused quarterback, Cole. I don't know why you're trying to direct his focus away from football. Okay.
Well, hey, I wanted to ask you, speaking of wide receivers, the rapport with that group. On Saturday, the top 3 guys had 13 catches for 185 yards at wide receiver. Just how do you continue to see the rapport build with the wide receiver room?
I think it's just confidence growing in that room with those guys, and you can definitely see it. It translated to the field just because how well they practiced last week. It transferred to the field on Saturday, and it just allows me to go out there and play more free because I know where guys are going to be at. I can anticipate throws. I can trust that guys are going to come down and make plays with it, and I think it's just a credit to, how those guys prepare throughout the week. And I think they'll just continue to grow as the season goes on.
Where do you think you individually have improved the most or grown the most from game 1 now through game 5?
I feel like the biggest thing is just trying to be more aggressive with the football and just being able to show my ability to push the ball down the field. But I feel like the biggest thing is really just my leadership abilities and being able to vocalize my voice on the sidelines in between drives, make sure we keep the sidelines lively, not get too complacent when we're up and not get too down whenever we're down. So try to keep the guys into the best of my ability, and really go out there and prove that we're one of the best teams in the nation.
Who are some guys that since week 1 you think have really taken some big steps forward and will maybe have bigger roles even in the next few weeks?
I really think that J-Jack's been playing really well lately, and he's been practicing really well. He's one of the smartest receivers that we do have, just by understanding, where to be at. He blocks on every run play. Dude plays really hard. And then I think offensive line wise, I think Sam Heck is doing a really good job just in the center, being able to be the quarterback of that offensive line. And all those guys have been doing a really good job, but Sam being his first year, he's really stepped up and done a really good job. And then Jace, he's had flashes here and there, but I really think that he's gonna end up, showing up for us really big as the season continues to go on.
I remember some of your teammates talked about at Big 12 Media Day in Arlington, the Colorado game kind of being one that they couldn't wait to play. Is that something you're kind of sensing, the vibe in the locker room right now, that this was a game that people were pretty excited to get to?
For sure. And I think we'll, be well rested off of a bye week and really hungry to get out there and play again. But, it's going to be kind of the same environment that we had when we traveled to BYU. So kind of got to figure out, what we did wrong that week and be able to, block all that outside noise off so that we can go out there and perform, how we did last Saturday.
Have you ever crossed paths with like Shador or Shiloh or Travis Hunter, any of those guys on that side?
I've never met any of them except for I kind of met Travis Hunter. I was at a camp with him at Florida State camp my sophomore year. He was out there running routes, playing corner, and doing all that, but I never formally met any of them.
Gotcha. Are you sensing, like, have you talked with Dylan much about what this is going to be like for him?
Yeah, he's super excited to get out there and just play in Colorado against them, because obviously played there like everybody knows, but he's trying not to make it, bigger than what it needs to be, and just kind of going out and, let the game come to him as is, and, be able to just go out there and do what he does best, and that's, be explosive when he gets the ball in his hands and make the defense pay whenever he gets the opportunity to.
Avery, just a few fun ones here, and we'll get you out of here. Really appreciate you. I can't remember if I asked you this when we had you on last year, but are you much of a trash talker when you're out on the field?
No, not at all. I don't really say anything. I just go about my business and play.
Well, on the flip side of that, I was curious actually when you were talking earlier about like the Oklahoma State play, the last touchdown that you had. When you do that to somebody, because like if someone did that to me on the video game, like I'd be like spiking the controller. Like, do you hear them talking about like what just happened? Like they're frustrated or anything like that when you do something like that?
No, the majority of stuff like that kind of comes after the game. You might find somebody that comes up and says something to you, but it's like more like jokingly laughter after the game. But to be honest, like you can't. If they were to say anything, I wouldn't be able to hear it. Whenever you score a touchdown, like the whole stadium erupts. So. You don't really hear much of anything.
You ever gone fishing with DJ?
No. DJ doesn't do anything with anybody but himself.
Not surprised.
That's awesome. What's it like being Avery Johnson, like walking around Manhattan or walking around campus these days?
All my classes are online. I don't really go. I try to stay off campus as much as I can. But whenever I am out on campus, most of the time it's just like I might get asked for a photo here and there, and might have to take a photo, or it's not too crazy, I wouldn't say. Just definitely, like everybody does, notice me whenever I do show my face. So try to stay out of it as much as I can, and just try to be as much of a 19-year-old as I can whenever I can. But there's definitely a lot that comes with it.
All right. Well, Avery, we appreciate the time so much, man. Enjoy the bye week and heading to Colorado next week. Can't wait to watch you play the rest of the season.
Thank you.